Good morning. And on this week's installment of The Professor Helps, we're going to talk about disagreement not equaling disrespect. I find it incumbent upon me to bring this up today because there was a decision made recently that I don't agree with by state officials, that we're going to reopen the state of Texas as of Friday. And there's a lot of people that agree with me, there's a lot of people that disagree with me. And you know, it just got me thinking about how so much of the time we disagree with each other about different things. Some things matter a great deal, some things matter less. But something I find that's pretty universal is that we all have a strong feeling about one thing or another. And I took a class not too long ago that talked a lot about how disagreement does not equal disrespect. And I've used that a lot recently in discussions with people, including my spouse, even my daughter, who is 3, so that's a little bit weird to think about. The thing is that you can disagree with someone and still respect them, have the greatest respect ever. So for example, this decision to open the state, I disagree with it. It doesn't mean that I disrespect people who agree with it. In fact, one of them is a very close friend of mine, and we had a conversation about it, and I was really shocked at how stridently they believed what they believed. But I shouldn't be, right? Because the people that I choose to be friends with are pretty passionate about how they feel about how they live their lives. And I saw something pretty great yesterday that said, you know, some people want to get their hair done. That's okay. Be kind. Some people are really excited that the state's reopening because they can go on job interviews. There are some people who are really scared, and so they're going to keep wearing their masks. Never mind that wearing masks is a requirement. It's not a suggestion. It's not a guideline, despite what Mr. Pence might think. It's one of those things where, yes, we can all stand to be kinder. And I think that this whole situation has caused a lot of people to be kinder, which I think is fantastic. I hope that we keep that as we move into whatever this next phase is. And I'm aware that the idea is to open in phases, right? It's not immediate. It's not like everything's opening. It's that things are opening and it's 25%. And I've really thought about, you know, why I'm so vehemently opposed. And it's because I think that we're not ready. I think that until we have more information, we have more data, it's not a good idea. There's a lot of science to back me up, and there's also people who have a lot of passion, and they have science on their side too, and they don't agree. Again, though, that doesn't mean I disrespect them. I was talking to a friend of mine just a couple of weeks ago, actually, and it was really surprising because you know how you're in a conversation with someone and you think that you're both exactly on the same page, and then you find out that you're in a completely different book. Or they're in one book and you're in another book. And you kind of go, huh, that's surprising. And where I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I would have gotten into a really passionate argument about why I was right and they were wrong. This time I just listened and I went, oh, okay. All right, well, tell me more about that. And I find that the cure for disagreement is curiosity. Now, that does not mean that you're going to change my mind. That does not mean that I'm going to change your mind. But if we come at it from the angle of, tell me more about why you believe what you believe, I have a greater chance to understand you. Even if I don't agree with you, I have a better chance of understanding you if I listen to your point of view and I listen to why you feel the way that you do. I think the biggest thing about all of this is that as we walk into what's next for this, we have to remember that everybody's approaching this from a different angle. You might have somebody in your house who is high risk. There might be somebody who is not experiencing a lot of disruption at all because they worked from home before. Or, you know, there's a lot of different ways that we come at the world. And I think the biggest thing to remember is that disagreement does not equal disrespect. And if we all remember to be courageous, kind, and curious, I think that that's something we can all strive for. You know, you can call back to that time when you were a kid and you listened and you asked questions and you were curious about what was under that rock and what does that bug do and why is that bug green and all that other stuff. So try to go back to that. So when you find yourself disagreeing with somebody, try to think a little bit about what their point of view is. And if you find that that's hard for you, that's fine. I'm still going to be kind and I'm still going to ask you to tell me more. And I'm also going to say something I read not too long ago, and I always think about this when I'm struggling understanding someone else, because believe it or not, I have a lot of trouble understanding other people. It is a lifelong journey and struggle. Think of people as trees. Like if you look at a tree and you see that one is bent, one is crooked, one is, you know, kind of bending in the breeze, one is standing up straight and tall. You never think, oh, well, that tree is too bent or that tree is too gnarled. You just think, oh, it's a tree, and you let the tree be. I think that if we all could stand to think about people as trees, you would let them be, and it would just be easier to encounter them. And failing that, if, you know, the tree metaphor doesn't work for you, try this one. Every day, everyone is doing their best. And it is really important to remember that while you don't think they're doing their best, they are, in fact, doing their best. And coming from it, from that angle, it makes it a lot easier to believe that they're doing their best. Because believe me, there are days when you do your best that someone else is looking at you and going, that's their best. So think about it like that and try your best to give people grace and curiosity. And as I wrap up this week's edition of The Professor Helps, remember, this is the weekly message. I usually do it just before 7 a.m. Because what I want to do is motivate you, inspire you, and sometimes I'm going to talk to you about something that's frustrating me. So I will tell you that disagreement does not equal disrespect is a hard message, because, you know, I think it's something we all need to hear. It doesn't get any easier, but let me try my best to motivate you and inspire you to be curious about people and to understand that they're doing their best. So that's this week's edition of The Professor Helps. If it helps you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure that you share it. If you missed any of these, you can go to YouTube and search for The Professor Helps, and you can find any of them. Thank you again for watching and subscribing. And this is The Professor, signing off.